we see this student loan forgiveness, which I think, again, they are dealing with headlines. And the headline is they're forgiving student loans. What they're not telling people is that it's $10,000, and what this is the kind of this is more inflationary spending, because the government starts canceling these debts, and then you have to wonder, taking out a loan, do you ever have to pay it back? And next year, will they cancel $30,000? What would be the incentive? Let's say you get this $10,000 off, and let's say you got $30,000 left. What's the incentive to pay that $30,000? Oh, by the way, they're also putting a halt to that. Now, if you're a small business owner dealing with a bank, you're not getting these kind of protections ever.
This is insane. This is pure politics. This is about buying election votes for the Elizabeth Warren AOC wing of their party. They think they'll go run on this and they'll have more power. Jordan, I think about the machine shop that I ran in Wichita, Kansas. I ran it for a bunch of years before I lost my mind and ran for Congress. Those folks were working hard. Why should they be paying for some graduate student who's studying gender theory at an elite school and say, nope, if you decided you didn't want to work, you're making less than $125,000 a year, we're going to give you $10,000. It is fundamentally indecent. It is wrong. And I regret that the Biden administration thought this was in the best interest of America.
How this becomes a problem for everyone is we're in the middle of a time where there's inflation, and this increases inflation because you're taking people's debt away. And they always try to figure out then, okay, wait, that means less revenue for the federal government, who just said they're going to spend $87 billion for the IRS. They got to then find that money. And when they try to find that money is when inflation starts going, because they start printing more money and things get more expensive.
You're going to see a massive change with kids who are currently coming out of high school. I see it with my friends who have kids that are about to graduate or graduating this year. There is a boom for trade school, and there's a boom for just going out and doing the job you want to do. You saw it from Elon Musk saying those kind of things.
It was a fairly new idea in the United States, too, that everyone needs to go to get a 4-year degree and then figure out what you're going to do somewhere along that 4 years. The first couple of years, you'd have to decide on a major. And then the price levels. And it does make sense. If you're going to a specific, like the law school part of law school makes sense. You're going to be representing people. If you're going to be a surgeon, it makes sense. You're going to spend a lot of time before you can do this. But other countries cut off half the time. Like
for law school.
You go to law school, You don't have to go to 4 years of undergrad. There may be like a mix where it's a little crossover. Maybe it takes 5 years total instead of 7.
I feel like the goal for maybe the baby boomer generation was they were a lot of the times the first generation to go to college. And and that was a big deal. And it is a big deal. But they wanted that for their children, regardless of what it was. They just wanted to see that piece of paper. Now, a lot of them got taken advantage of, have hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Sure, do I think we need to be the people who now have to pick up that bill? No, I do not. But I also think if that same person had walked into a car dealership and asked for a $100,000 car, they would have been.
Get it today.
They would not get it now. They would not have got it then. They would not get a $100,000 loan start a business or to buy a house. It certainly would not happen. So the fact that our system was set up to where a college kid could get this amount of debt so quickly, so young, I think there's something we need to talk about there. Big discussion.
You might be listening as a parent right now, say this is great. Or, this sounds good. That's exactly how they want to hook you in. But remember, anytime they are taking out $300 billion is what this cost, and they're putting back in $87 billion for the IRS, where do you think they're getting that $87 billion from? I mean, they're running it, this big deficit spending. It's you. And when you start canceling this money, it's just like saying, we're going to give the tax credit for the electric truck. And the electric truck went up exactly the amount of the tax credit. So you never got the impact of that. It never reached you. And that's how you have to have these conversations starting today with people in your community. Armed with the facts, armed with the truth, armed with the statistics to get past the headline.